Sisters of the Holy Cross was given for the first time in this church in 1844. 20 years later, when half the sisters answered the governor's call to serve as nurses during the Civil War, they agreed solely on the condition that they be allowed to treat casualties from both sides of the war. For the heroic women who had no formal training as nurses, it was the beginning of a healthcare ministry that would stretch from coast to coast in the form of hospitals and clinics across the world, and in this community remains the gift that the rest of us are entrusted with today. A high-tech, sophisticated regional healthcare system extending into every city, town and village, every neighborhood. We're here for every man, woman, and child who needs us. That's what it means to be St. Joseph.
If there's any responsibility in the human family for one another, no matter who comes, we care for you. That's the spirit of Holy Cross, building up the kingdom of God.
Anybody here has this sense of service to others and meeting their needs. And no matter who they are or where they came from, if they are ill, we take care of them.
At the beginning of the war, several Holy Cross sisters stepped aboard a Mississippi riverboat called the Red Rover. The Red Rover had been converted into a floating hospital ship for casualties from both sides in the battle.
They were trying to do their best to figure out what to do with the wounded.
The women were not nurses, so they just had to do the best they could.
It was a quick study in how to be a nurse and a doctor, practically.
Later, these same Holy Cross sisters would be hailed as forerunners to the U.S. Navy Nurses Corps.
These people were pretty fearless.
2 of them stayed on the ship and never got off until the war was over. After the war, the sisters recognized that the quality of healthcare in the region needed to be improved. So in 1882, they established the first hospital in South Bend and Old St. Joseph's Church, where today the new St. Joseph High School stands. 5 local doctors volunteered immediately to serve as medical staff, and Notre Dame donated a horse named Beauty to serve as an ambulance for the hospital. But the hospital wasn't an immediate success. Only after the sisters placed an ad in the South Bend Tribune did patients start coming to the hospital. Prior to the ad, accident victims were routinely sent to the county farm or the county jail. But by 1902, the growth in the hospital was so astounding that St. Joseph had to turn patients away for lack of room. Thus, on April 26, 1903, 10,000 citizens showed up for the dedication of the newest addition to the hospital. At this, the South Bend Tribune noted, "The view from this place is one of inspiring grandeur." 4 years later, the sisters organized this region's first nursing school. When a 72-year-old homeless man showed up sick and without friends, he was invited to stay, and so he did, doing odd jobs for the hospital until he died, nearly 20 years later. Throughout the years, the hospital expanded and grew in scope and complexity. In 1947, the sisters first began inviting lay people from the community to advise them on running the operation. In 1969, the first lay board of trustees was formally organized, and to this day, volunteers from the community sit alongside Sisters of the Holy Cross and now poor handmaids of Jesus Christ in making decisions about the healthcare system. The poor handmaids, they cared for the sick right in their own homes. Until 1910, that's when physicians asked them to build a hospital in downtown Mishawaka. Their ministry continued to grow and serve the healthcare needs of men, women, and children in this community for decades to come. A decision to merge at the turn of the 21st century meant the poor handmaids, the Sisters of the Holy Cross, and the lay board of trustees would now sit in governance over the largest Catholic healthcare system in north central Indiana history. And the little hospital on the hill that once struggled for patients would now be called St. Joseph Regional Medical Center, a name reflecting the sheer magnitude, scope, and reach of the new healthcare system. Today, St. Joseph Regional Medical Center is represented throughout the region. A hospital in Plymouth, one in Mishawaka, the Sister Maura Brannick Health Clinic in South Bend, and many other medical specialty clinics and practices throughout the region. Since arriving here in 1843, the story of the Sisters of the Holy Cross is one of sacrifice and dedication to every man, woman, and child in this region. From this, their original home in Bertrand, Michigan, just across the Indiana state line, they'd found an academy for girls before moving across the border to Indiana in 1855. The sophisticated state-of-the-art healthcare system that we enjoy in this community today, well, it wouldn't exist at all if not for the brave women who went off to war and then opened hospitals all across the country, including the little one on the hill right here in this town. St. Joseph Regional Medical Center, a high-tech, sophisticated regional healthcare system extending into every city, town, and village, every neighborhood, for every man, woman, and child who needs us. Thanks to the sisters who made it all possible. That's what it means to be St. Joseph.